Hello everybody, Grey Wolf here. So this is my Spore Warden Spellshot setup that I labeled the Sorcerer Supreme because you have to come up with a snazzy title in order for people to notice you on YouTube. And is a very solid setup capable of covering all aspects of C35, whether it's bossing, mobbing, chaos dungeon, or the raid bosses. You can interchange multiple action skills as well as enchantments as per which action skill that you use. I prefer the ambidextrous because that's kind of the best synergies that I get out of the build. But you can run Blizzard or Barrage and switch to like a Wrath of Nature calm if you wanted to boss or mob like that. It's really your preference. This build is actually quite versatile and encompasses all aspects of fun, aka gun damage, fire rate, spells, spell damage. You can basically Swiss Army knife the shit out of this setup. And with that said, let's go over the loadout and my skill trees. Thanks, everybody. Okay, everybody, quick overview of the skill trees and gear loadout. Starting out in the Spore Warden, 5 out of 5 in Eagle Eye, 5 out of 5 in Bullseye, added gun damage, added gun crit chance, Wind Runner, kill skill, movement speed, and fire rate stacks twice. Medicinal Mushroom, so your useless piece of craft mushroom can revive you when it's not already dead itself, which is not very often. Oh god, I hate that thing so much with a passion. Gearbox, please buff its health or give us just a different one all in general. Anyways, going over to the Spellshot, ambidextrous is the action skill that I prefer. However, like I stated before, you could use multiple different ones and kind of interchange the enchantments as per action skill that you use. Magic bullets, 45% of your gun damage as per spell weaving and spell damage sources. Awesome, great damage source. You could kind of interchange the next one to get down to tier 2, but I like to take the spell crit chance. More fire rate, glass cannon, high thread count, and then imbued weapon. Imbued weapon is great because it adds a bonus damage element onto your gun. So if you're using like a cryo element spell, it will actually infuse your gun kind of like Amara's. Double Knot recently got nerfed, but I still take it because I like to use the ice spike spells every now and then. And basically like the linchpin, sever the thread. Basically, when we use all of the fire rate that we get from both classes, we are going to pretty much exploit the shit out of the capstone, regenning our spells constantly. So that's kind of the basis of the build. Fire your guns. Your guns are going to do a lot of damage, great fire rate, and as you're firing, you're going to be getting your spells back almost instantaneously, which will allow you to use stuff like the Buffmeisters, or if you don't like the Buffmeisters, you could use double sigil spells, which is like what I use, or I'll use like a ice spike and one Buffmeister in each hand, and so on and so forth. It's really up to you. You can interchange a bunch of different spells. If you didn't want to use like a Cape of Tides, you can put like a Tide Breaker in your right hand, and you can use like a Sunder spell or your double eruption spells. But what's great about the setup is that the more high pellet count shotguns and high fire rate weapons synergize really well, and you will actually notice that you don't have any downtime on your spells, and you will constantly be regenning them. With that said, all of the gear and such is kind of versatile. It's up to you what you want to use. I actually prefer the Shark's Bane rings because they're very simple, they're very straightforward. You get a substantial gun damage bonus from them, so I'll usually run them in slot. But if you wanted to use your typical mood rings and so on and so forth, that's really up to you. The armor piece that I recommend is actually the Tides armor. That is my preferred one, but if you wanted to use the Spartan armor or the plate mail or all the usual suspects when it comes to that, you can definitely use it. It's up to you. Just make sure that you have +1 in high thread count in the above skills, And you want to try and get like gun damage and gun crit passives in the bottom. When it comes to guns, I prefer the cryo weapons, even though they recently got nerfed. I haven't noticed too much of a big difference in damage output. Amulets are quite influential in your damage formula, so you're definitely going to want to get one with frost damage, and you're going to want to focus on Spellshot power with this setup. You do not need Spore Warden power. We are not using Play the Angles, and we are not typically using Wrath of Nature. However, excuse me. However, if you wanted to switch to an armor piece that had like +3 into Wrath of Nature, go over to Barrage. You could use that, even though you did not take that actual skill. Anyways, I hope you guys like that really long-winded response. I will leave you guys now. Hopefully you guys like it. Have a good day, everybody. Take care.